Yeah. You know how we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the Grand Sheikh, Cujo L, Iron Sheikh. Yeah. Yeah.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? He talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Great Seal West adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my sheep, got a problem with me. I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said?
I don't rock a hat, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors.
Heard what I said? He talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Tosh to be Bay taught the world don't respect you. However, since you wanna be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food and the message, the medicine. Mumble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mob Deep, condolences, QB, RIP Prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you said right. Trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabir Bey knows Moorish Master MC. Fruquan Bey and Daddy IU are on some Moorish degrees. Spraga and Bojuno, they even kill Peter cause of Macintosh. Still visit the global planets, hip-hop astronauts. Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers. To higher than other senses, to still pick up the frequency. Pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul. Lost Professor built pyramids, I watch Drink Champ steady. Cause Nori said Drew Ali on a track, so call me petty. Also Martin Moore exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown video, feathers like I said to do. Initiate invasions, activate our doors, every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? He talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors. Heard what I said? Heard what I said? Heard what I said? We
Asian values. The only section of Europe that had a high value system during the Dark Ages were those on the Iberian Peninsula in the Spanish, Portuguese area, southern France. And that high state of culture existed there because Africans, known as Moors, had come there and brought it there. So,
Woogie, play that shit. NBPP, ain't BPP. I'm telling y'all, no one with a lawyer, so don't ask me. I know y'all are Moors, just ask General Khalid. The General.
Islam, I'm a Moor, and got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And
the only section of Europe that had a high value system during the Dark Ages were those on the Iberian Peninsula in the Spanish, Portuguese area, southern France. And that high state of culture existed there because Africans, known as Moors, had come there and brought it there. So,
Woogie, play that shit. NBPP, ain't BPP. I'm telling y'all, no one with a lawyer, so don't ask me. I know y'all are Moors, just ask General Khalid. The General.
Islam, I'm a Moor, and got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And ain't gonna never argue with you that I'm not a Moor.
The general said he's a Moor. NBPP won't take heed. Your greed for his name, fame got you skunk drunk. You never pull the trigger, just pose with the shotguns pump. Waiting and hating, showing no love, but you're showing bacon. Licenses for ID at the police station. On top of that, no rights reserved on the contract. Dirty Moors finesse masters use old leaders to con cats. Show their picture but won't use their best quotes, only use the ones to bring in fiat notes from scapegoats. Kwame Toure's wife even wore a fez at their wedding. A snicker at Snick, and all black organizations begging, walking with limbs peg-legging. These conscious pirates, fake freedom warners, getting no ratings when I'm irate. Conscious, 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 conscious. Sarnetta sat down with Taj Bey one-on-one. Suit and Yeti is my target, Aleem Bey is my gun. All I do is crush a lot truth. My big pun and Fat Joe falling on you 50 feet below. Mike Fatso, Mark conscious coons, frauds up with my firing squad. Tugging at emotions hard like sleeping, pulling a quad. Larry's no professor, show me some doctorate degree, son. Won't listen to I'm African crap until I see one. I'm not asking for much, cause I give more than I ask for. Moorish MC, lay it down hot like asphalt. I won't cool though, some call me Fool Joe. Trying to get under my skin, you must be a Negro. Old foe gets spoiled slow, lashed with the tongue strap. Conscious coons wanna be Gay-Z and make a comeback. Not on my watch, flow till time stops. Left and shot cause the rhyme doc. Open up your mind blocks. Conscious, 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 conscious.
Other one,
Galatians.
Malicious.
Oh, Galatians.
Galatians. We have them there. Now, these are church documents. But remember, when there came a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain, the Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. From 711 until 1485, 774 years, when we built and brought into Europe the university system, building the University of Salamanca, S-A-L-A-M-A-N-C-A in Spain, a copy of the University of
Northgate, H2O flow, Chic, Canaanland Moorish, Release for Shalon Davis, salute, hot house. Check it. They say they wanna learn, they only debate. Referencing the truth, trust me, they only sound the great. Any nationality before you question my.
We gotta pull up. I see you, Mark. I see you. We gotta pull up for that one. Good timing.
Northgate. H2O flow. Chic, Canaanland Moorish. Release for. Shalon Davis. Salute. Hot house. Check it. They say they wanna learn, they only debate. Referencing the truth, trust me, they only sound the great. Any nationality before you question my estate. I'm not a minority, why you so late? Majority rules, here comes the test. Fact, that's my hand in the form of a V on the chest. That's a womb that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major from birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a Moor that is easy to digest. Competent, never tyrannilious. That is my land, never vacant. Sacred traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. Westmoreland to Portmore, everybody needs more. Review, please more. Following the apostle, we should read more. I see the unseen more, we more. That's a fact. Canaanland.
They say they wanna learn, complain classes are too long. Don't want it on a phone call, energy too strong. Get it from the wrong source, now they way off course. Think they must be Muslim and give up on all sports. Should give up the red meat, must give up on all porks. Won't be yelling haram when the bottles are uncorked. Eating with the spoon, use forks for tuning. Eating humble pie, no ego ballooning. Samson 2 caterpillars, got him cocooning. As the full moon hung, spiral energy moving. Up through the crown chakra, energy shooting, and told me upload classes before live YouTubing. 16,000 subscribers, 20% consuming, 80% troll pretending to be tuned in. Comment on every video, pushing the thumbs down. We'll push the link when we live just like a clown. Pouring in the incompetence, always debating. Dissing Drew Ali but won't give their location. His image on the black banner, that's placation. Just get him out of here, Yusuf yells in frustration. We know they're playing games, we're not berating. Calling 911, scimitars penetrating. In defense of prophets and mothers abused. And newly awakened Moors, amused and confused.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law make civil literal lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. Or keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm Rob Bass, mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets told me upright, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Sorbet, rapping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J. Israel. Had no but I lay in plain sight.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law make civil literal lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. Or keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm raw bass, mix it with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets stood me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Sorbet, repping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J, Israel. Had no but I lay in plain sight, but people still can't see it. So the snake's still showing up, stakes still high, so the rate's still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the manger, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death, dip in slavery. Looking for light, the book of Genesis. Astral plane entrances, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life, finish him.
Moorish Omar, key man or oracle. Using Trinity powers, decipher allegorical. Lost and metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Facts slap a dirty more or a Drew Ali critic. Calling him Thomas or Walter and get your face caved. Or cut like a close shave. Drowned in my brain waves, squashed by heat waves. Activating Kundalini. Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini. Selassie I in exile. Reptile in Genesis, niggas appearing real. All I see is false evidence. VAR feminists, stomped on by elephants. Won't let go prejudice, but want Moorish benefits. When you feel the cold magnetic resonance. Apis horns of the sacred book, all maleficent. Great cosmic mothers, return to blessedness. No pestilence, ace all the testaments. Tap into remembrance, never to forget again. Use energy right, not put spell effects on men. Wandering the earth plane with no they live shades. Keeps you a mental slave as the horizon fades. It's been decades since Christian crusades. Not enough rebellions, too many vigil bouquets. Holding on to the fence, burning on doomsday. War ruled by Mars, it might be on a Tuesday.
Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try?
The Barbary coast starts on the sort of top left of Africa, so the Atlantic coast of Morocco. It stretches through into the Straits of Gibraltar and then along that North African coast through all the kind of places which are in the news at the moment, Algiers, Tunis, and the city kingdom of Tripoli, which is modern-day Libya. That 2,000-mile stretch of North African coastline, that's the Barbary coast. In the 17th century, that area is under the nominal control of the Ottoman Empire. That means it's part of the Dar al-Islam. It's part of the lands of Islam. And it was always thought by Christians and Muslims that this area was on the front line. This is where the sort of little wars were fought out between Christendom and Islam. And it's no coincidence, I don't think, that a lot of the guys I've been writing about in the 16th, 17th century, they referred to themselves as mujahideen. They were warriors for God. They talked about being on jihad. They were on sea jihad to push back the encroaching infidel. They were pushing back Christendom.
They're operating out of ports along this whole Barbary coast and preying on what kind of shipping in the Mediterranean?
They're preying on any kind of Christian shipping they can find. So it's mainly merchant shipping, and most of it is engaged in the Levant trade. That is a hugely lucrative trade between Smyrna, between, in fact, Constantinople, Istanbul. Ironically, we're engaged in trade. The West is in trade with the Ottoman Empire. And a lot of English, French, Dutch, Spanish ships are moving along the Mediterranean to trade with the Greek islands, to trade with Aleppo in Syria, to trade, as I say, with Smyrna and Constantinople. And they're ripe for the picking. They're not treasure ships. They're not like the great Spanish treasure fleets. But then again, the pirates that I've been writing about aren't just after treasure. Sure, they want treasure when they can find it, but they'll take anything. They'll take the ship. They'll take the cargo, even if it's olive oil or currants or whatever, they can sell it. And very importantly, they'll take the crew. Piracy, and in fact the states of Algiers and Tunis and Tripoli, depended on slavery. The economies of these states depended on capturing slaves and ransoming them or selling them on. Something like 1 million Europeans were sold into slavery on the Barbary coast in the 17th century.
Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Well, since it's Black History Month, and the etymology of black means pale, not dark, then we're going to talk about pale history for black history. Because etymology of black is pale. You go look that up, etymononline.com, and just look that up. And then black is pale, then who are these dark-skinned people? What are they talking about? Tell me. Tell me. What are they talking about? That they're black. If black means pale, how are the dark-skinned people the black people? How? Explain to me. Explain to me how, and send this out to all the black whoever's out there, right? Whatever their name is, because I study. I don't watch black guys. I don't care what black guys are saying. I don't care Moors who are chilling with black guys. I don't care what they're saying. I'm studying. So we want to know, how is it that black means pale, but dark-skinned people are talking about black history? Why are dark-skinned people talking about black history if black means pale? Oh yeah, and this is not Moore's opinion. Moors aren't black because black means pale, not because we don't like our people or whatever. I mean, why are you condescending because the black people have been here for millions of years and whatever? Stop the BS. We're not black people. We're not black people. We're not black because black means pale. I'm not saying we're not black because we're dark skinned. We're not talking about the word that's being used. Doesn't matter how people look. The word that's being used, remember, right? Our era, the era that we came up in as young people, we had a children's section in the store. There's the adult section, children's section. Right? And then all of a sudden, the children's section turned to the kids section. Like, hold on a second, how come everything's saying kids all of a sudden? What's going on here? Why is everything saying kids on it? Like, I remember when the transition was made. I remember in my mind when hip-hop went from conscious stuff to BS. Like, I remember sitting there thinking about it. Why is this thing changing? I remember going to a store and somebody said, could you go to the children's section? And they're like, oh, the kids section is over there. And I was like, hold on a second. That never used to be called the kids section. That used to be called the children's section. Oh, what they do? Play you. Because they have you chasing after the wrong word. And then you call the children kids, which are animals, which are goats, right? Oh yeah, let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there. Since we're talking about goats. So you call your children kids. A kid is a goat, right? The goat is represented as Baphomet. Keep in mind, we're talking about kids and goats and whatever, right? And everybody calls their children kids right now. Right? Everybody. Everybody says kids. Children is like only reserved for if you're reading a book from before this time. Other than that, people say kids. Keep in mind, right? This is Light and Truth. Robert Benjamin Lewis. The appellation of Moor is given to those successors of Mohammed. Not Muhamm and all that stuff. None of that. Mohammed. Mehamhomet. Write that down. Muhammad. Baphomet comes from Muhammad. Baphomet. Baphomet comes from Muhammad. And then you look at that and you talk about some nation of gods and earths. That's whose stuff that is. That's not their stuff. They're following Baphomet, which is a goat that certain people say is, the devil or whatever. But this book is saying that the name Moor is given to those successors of Muhammad, which is this. I'm not talking about some Arabic guy or whatever brought some religion. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the words. They're not black. They've been telling you Muhammad when it's Muhammad. And Muhammad is Baphomet, which is this guy. This is really a goat, but he has two on the right like the Moors, and then he has a 5-point star on his head like the Moorish flag that every Moor has in their house or whatever. And it's not the upside down stuff where they're talking about the Satanism or whatever. It's not upside down. What do you mean? What do you mean Satanism? What are you talking about? Oh, because when it's upside down, it looks like a goat with the horns, and then that means it's the devil. No, it doesn't. Upside down doesn't matter. That's the star of Venus. What are you talking about? Making up stuff. Try to play games with Moors as if this is evil and this is Muhammad. This is what everybody should be saying. Thank you for bringing us. Thank you for bringing us Quran and all that stuff. And we can read every day and we can be good Muslims. There he is. Give him honors. Or are you a traitor? Because you should be riding with Baphomet if you're repping for Muhammad. Why wouldn't you ride? No? You're not going with it? You're still going to play games that we're not Moors. Okay. Here's the Light and Truth. Let's go back again. Let's go back again. The appellation of Moor is given to those successors of Muhammad, pagans, Christians, and Jews who extended their empire through North Africa, South Europe, and the islands of the Mediterranean. The Moors gained the highest reputation, both in arts and arms. The Moors gained the highest reputation, both in arts and arms, of all the nations of the East. The mechanic and the fine arts, especially sculpture and painting, were in a very low state in Europe when the Moors turned their attention to them and cultivated them with great success. With great success. The Moors, who's Baphomet, right, who they say is the devil and all that stuff, right? Because the representatives, the successors of Muhammad, who is a prophet, then Noble Ali's a prophet, and then you're not putting this thing together, and everybody knows Yahshua is a prophet. So why is it hard? Oh, because once you don't study, you get lost. You get lost. The book is Light and Truth, Robert Benjamin Lewis. Don't think he's done. How come they don't tell you about this in Black history? Because all this is the so-called black culture and all that, right? Because Baphomet is black magic, right? So if these people call themselves black, then anything black they should be riding with. So how come they're not riding with black magic and put some hexes on these police that's murdering them in the street? Since they're black, why don't you just use black magic on them, since the Martian and all that stuff's not working? Because you're black people, so black means you could, anything black, you know, put a black plague on these people. Do something. Just rolling around the street. And then now you have the new Congo line, the truckers now. Now the truckers marching and picketing with trucks now. Wouldn't it have been more cost effective to take the car opposed to the truck 5 million miles? Why would you take the truck? And then when they come back and they say, okay, fine, you don't have to get vaxxed or whatever like that, you could work. Then they're going to be complaining about lost wages and all this BS. That's not what your argument was. Your argument was jabs. Your argument was, I'm not taking because I got the right to whatever. What's your nationality? Oh, I'm Canadian. Oh yeah. Oh, so then if you're that, then you better go get the stuff, or you're not getting the stuff. This is why Drew Ali and Garvey and all these people told you have your own. Don't listen to these NAACP idiots and integration BS. Because everybody else who comes here, even in the 1920s, they had their own little community that they were in. All these foreigners that came to America, specifically North America and Canada. And now it looks like they run stuff because, you know, they put up the front. They're foreigners. Because they're foreigners, they have to know their place. Right? Because the mechanic and the fine arts, especially sculpture and painting, were in very low state in Europe when the Moors turned their attention to them and cultivated them with great success. You tell me about fixed credit. Not fixed credit. How about say that you're a Moor and get your credit is right there. Because the reparations are owed to the Moors. The reparations are owed to the black guys. The reparations are owed to the Maroons and the tribe of the black Indian, whoever. The reparations isn't going to be given to them. It's only going to be given to the Moors because that's who the debt's with. Everybody knows, everybody in whatever government is a Mason. Okay, well, a Mason is somebody who's holding something for somebody. That's what he is. When it comes to knowledge and light and the holy, whatever like that, Masons got it on lockdown. They got it on lockdown. They're holding that. You can't get it. You can't even give it to your wife. You can't even give it to your children. Just gotta pay your dues and keep the secrets. You think they don't know that Baphomet is Mahomet? You think they don't know who the Moors are? They're wearing fezzes. They're wearing fezzes. Why are they wearing fezzes for? Not emulating the Moors? So if they're emulating the Moors, that's probably because the Moors don't want to be the Moors. They want to be Negro black colored people. So they're taking your stuff. And you're just gonna let it happen because you don't want to get out of this dead stuff. You want to keep playing games like nationality is not the order of the day still. You still want to debate Moors about something. Right. The Moors had founded in Africa the Empire of Morocco, which was governed by a viceroy named Mucha. He sent his general Tarif into Spain, who in a single memorable engagement stripped the Gothic king Roderick of his life and crown and subdued the country in 713. The kingdom of the Moors flourished south of Spain for the space of 2 centuries in full vigor. The Moors, their dress is handsome. A sort of short shirt with wide sleeves, over which comes a cloth vest fastened with small buttons and loops, embroidered richly with gold and silver. They wear linen drawers with broad silk scarves around their waists, in which they stick a large knife with a curiously ornamented handle. They don't talk about black guys like that. They don't talk about the slaves from Africa like that. They talk about, all they're showing you is whips on the back pictures. That's all they're showing you. Whips on the back pictures. Black History Month, and they're giving you nothing. Nothing. Black History Month, they give you nothing. The word Negro is considered insulting, and it is used as an epithet of contempt to the colored people. It has been long used by our common enemies in America. It is not only insulting, but very improper for anyone to make use of it. Our friends, the friends of Christ, would do well to consider this and never write or publish it again to the world. Let it be remembered that it is as wicked for a Christian to swear as to call a disciple of Christ a Negro. Men of Africa were chosen by Christ, our Lord, to go and preach the everlasting gospel to every creature. See the sons of Africa who came to Antioch, preaching the Lord Jesus. I am authorized by the word of God to say whosoever makes use of the word Negro, applying it to us as a people, after the light and truth has been proclaimed, are neither friends of God nor man. I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it to me. Matthew 25, verse 40. To call a person Negro in the East is expressive of the highest contempt. The dark Spaniard is proud of his descent from the African Moor, who first taught Europe to use of the Arabic figures. And then after that, they got a thing talking about the Moorish castle. Right? And then they talk about the history of the prophets. Somebody's been playing you. They're telling you this fake slave stuff. And leaving out the good stuff. This is what they should be telling people Black History Month. What Moors talk about. Not this same BS that they're telling people Black inventors. How much Black inventor stuff you gonna talk about? Not tired talking about Black inventors? That's where y'all at. How about open people's mind to the greatness of their ancestors, the Moors? How about that? The Light and Truth said it. There was nothing but most pristine words when they're talking about the Moors. Happy Black History Month. You thought we forgot about this, huh?
That's an appalling number. I mean, men, women, children, and...
The economies of these states depended on capturing slaves and ransoming them or selling them on. Something like 1 million Europeans were sold into slavery on the Barbary coast in the 17th century.
That's an appalling number. I mean, men, women, children...
Depended on slavery. The economies of these states depended on capturing slaves and ransoming them or selling them on. Something like 1 million Europeans were sold into slavery on the Barbary coast in the 17th century.
That's an appalling number. I mean, men, women, children, and sold as what? As domestic servants, as galley slaves? And
all of those things, Lewis. And also, importantly, if they were well connected, they're held for ransom. So they can be sort of taken on as cheap labour, but also they're encouraged to write home to London or Bristol in England and to say, look, help, mum and dad, brothers, sisters, send money. I'm trapped here and my owner has set a price on my head. And the only way I'm going to get free is if you send money.
What kind of ships were the Corsairs using, and what size fleets? I mean, is it a single galley or is it several ships?
Oh yeah, that's another one. On top of pirates and jihadists and all this other stuff, right? They're going to make sure that they talk about the Corsairs. Corsair. Corsairs. That's another code name for the Moors. For the pirates. Pirates of the Caribbean and all that is the Moors. The only ones in the planet who had ships that could go places. No one else had ships. Why? Because the Moors are the custodians of the ancient Kemetic knowledge, and Kemet had ships. And all the Moors were doing were honoring their foremothers and forefathers and civilizing the world. Just like their ancestors did. But some people went nuts with the power. Right? Because, you know, this is some BS. You just kidnapping Europeans just because? And then the ransom is crazy. The ransom is crazy. Finance that they would be charging you nowadays for ransom, they were charging that back then. Like you're saying, having to call back to Europe. Right? The letter's taking however long it's taken to get there. Right? Yo, we're trapped. You get the letter. Oh, a letter from Johnny. I wonder how things are going here. Mom, send money. The pirates got us. We're running rampant. So this history repeating is why they fear us in power. Black Messiah Act and all that stuff to stop the rise of the whatever, it's because of this. It's not because of some black history. It's because of Moorish history. Why there's that idea. It's not because of black history that there's that idea, that they fear us. It's because of the Moorish history. Because there were ones of us, just like today, who did traitorous things with the birthright instead of doing like what all the other Moors are doing and uplifting fallen humanity. They want to play pirates. That same stuff that they're doing right now with selling packages or whatever, that's piracy. That's extortion and all that. They're selling you a package. That's how the pirates do. They're still here. Doing the same stuff like their foremothers and forefathers. These traitorous people. This is why. That's why Noble Drew Ali. So I Noble Drew Ali said to the nations, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race because you will know who you are and who your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. No black guy should have any problem with anything said there. No Hebrew Israelite, no ancient Egyptian whoever, no yoga whoever, no holistic health whoever, no Rastafarian whoever, no back to Africa whoever. No one should hear that and have an issue. If they have an issue, they have ego problems. They're not about unity. So make them walk the plank. Who's next? Because all they're going to do is be these traitors who's going to end up playing you out of your birthright again. Because you keep looking at as the European did something. You're the first slave master, not them. You're the first master. Check yourself. Stop looking at other people. Look at your own backyard and see you have grass to cut. And you're telling people, cut their grass. Your grass is 10 feet. Who are you? Right, everybody heard it. Together we stand, divided we fall. Drew Ali said that in the 20s. Who was saying that? Who was it? Where you hear that from? Together we stand, divided we fall. Don't the black guys use that stuff? Well, the conscious, whoever's used that. Don't all of them talk about unity and all that stuff? Oh, but what did Raleigh say that's going to redeem you? Knowing who you are and knowing who your forefathers were. Because if you don't know them, you don't count. Come, good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is a field open to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. Right? Now they're going to have a problem. Because they're going to be pointing over there at the white man, whatever like that, instead of taking responsibility like they're supposed to. Right? No. Like you're supposed to. Right? He's talking about mental slavery in the 20s. Who was talking about mental slavery then? And how to get out of it. Right? Which is why you ain't never hear us send people anywhere other than more Avengers. If it's not them, don't even waste your time. Don't waste your time, because all you're going to get is gurus. And you were probably looking at it back then as some bias, like it's some bias where we just want to promote them, or why them? Well, I'm going to go over here because some Moors over here are talking better than they're talking. And then 10 years later, hey, you know what, I should have stayed at the spot where you sent me. Now I had to deal with the gurus. Spending all this finance. You send five notes to RV Bay Publications, and you leave with a suitcase of stuff. They send you a box of stuff for 5 notes. And then you're talking about you can't uplift yourself when everything was brought for us to do that. Right? It said, come good people. So he's not talking to everybody, because everybody's not good. Right? Come good people. Be very specific which people he's talking about. You want the Negro, blacks, and coloreds. He ain't coming for them. What are you gonna do with bad people? What are you gonna do with unorganized people? What are you gonna do? All you want is the good people. You want the good people. Because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery which you have now, need every one of you who think your condition can be better. So again, he's talking about individuals who want to take some responsibility. When you know, at the end of the day, you look back at at the life, and you either did what you're supposed to do, or you effed up. You get to see. And it's going to be obvious to you. It's going to be obvious to you that maybe I need to check myself. But, most people don't want to check themselves. They want to keep playing the game like this is a game. Like, this is only for those who think that your condition can be better. If you think you're going to use a Moorish whatever to get out of a ticket that you got yesterday, you don't want your conditions to be better. You love slavery. Right. You like slavery. Doing it to get out of something without having knowledge of what you're doing. Right? You know how many Moors? You know how many Moors got their property taken from these people? Right? And it just turned into a dead case, a dead situation, where it's just a draw, because it wasn't about the car that they took. It was about you exercising your birthright and them recognizing you as who you say you are. Not about the other stuff. Because you're looking at it, get out of something or get something back or whatever, when it was really for you to have a record that they identify you as who you said you were. Baal, Deal. Now you have a record that they know who you are. And then coming back to the stuff like consular courts and stuff like that, that's what that's supposed to be for. So we have our own spot to go complain to, so somebody could go pick up some people and give them some charges in a court. But they don't want to do that. They want to play package games. They want to play consultation games. And then you're paying. And then you think that that's your birthright. Because you're not thinking that your condition could be better. You're thinking, get out of something. If I get out of this, oh yeah, that'll be great. I got out of it. Ooh, and then you're going back to doing the same nigger stuff that got you in the situation in the first place. But you're supposed to be a Moor now. What do you mean you're going back to doing nigger stuff after you say I'm a Moor? What do you mean you're doing nigger stuff? And even if you're doing nigger stuff, what do you mean you're not a Moor? What do you mean you're what is going on? But it's the mental slavery that Drew Ali said he was sent here to help you get out of. He was sent. And this is a field open to strong men and women, not weak ones. Strong ones only. The good people, strong men and women. Every one of you who think your condition can be better, he's very specific who he's talking to. He's not talking to masses of people. He's specifically talking to certain people. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what is meant when it said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things would be added unto you." And they let you know that that's an allegorical lesson. That's a metaphysic lesson. Kingdom of heaven is the mind, not some place out there. And once you're in the mind of your foremothers and forefathers, then the things will be added onto you that you need to traverse the earth plane. Oh yeah, by the prophet. But no, you're not going to hear what he's saying. You're going to go over here, listen to the black guys telling you about the black plight and all that. Oh my gosh. You know, they whipped our ancestors, yeah, on the ship and, you know, thrown overboard and all that. Hung on the trees. Oh my gosh. Playing victim. Playing Mr. and Mrs. don't want to take responsibility. Just content being a dumb nigger. No problem. No problem. We're looking at the good people, every one of you who think that your condition can be better, strong men and women. That's what it's about. That's who the call out is going to. Because everyone else is in mental slavery. They have you in some crazy time warp where you don't know what's what. You're going north for east and all this. You want to know how come you're not getting where you're supposed to go. Have the map upside down. Thought we forgot about this, huh?
What's the armament?
It's an interesting story. It's an evolving one, this, because in the 16th century, most piracy takes place in galleys, in big rowboats, with maybe a rowing crew of 144. There'd be a fighting crew of another 100 or so. These ships are very fast, they're very effective, but they can't really move out of the Mediterranean. They rely on shock and awe to overcome their prey. So they will sail straight up to their victim. They will often ram their victim, and then they will just charge aboard. There's no, the kind of Errol Flynn notion of...
Now, if you go get Moors and Masonry by Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey, get the Moors and Masonry book, tells you that those ships were called a Corvette. You hear Corvette, what do you think? Fast car, right? Take the turns and all that stuff, right? That was a Moorish boat. A Corvette. A Corvette is a Moorish boat that the pirates used to use, who were Moors, to kidnap Europeans and put them in slavery before you were in slavery. Black guy. Before you were in slavery, Europeans were in slavery to these pirates, our ancient foremothers and forefathers, who was a trader and a sellout. Now, I know everybody has one in the family and all that stuff. Everybody has the dumbass. But I just wanted to interject there. Now, when you have this, I'm going to rewind it, but when you have him talking about speeding up to the thing and that, think about a Corvette. And then apply how you think about the Corvette to a boat. And keep in mind, they're saying that it was people rowing. There are no engines on this thing. Who are they that they're rowing and their boat is like a Corvette? We're not going to tell you about this in Black history.
Galleons sailing by, firing broadsides at each other. don't work when you've got 100 rowboats with maybe a rowing crew of 144. There'd be a fighting crew of another 100 or so. These ships are very fast, they're very effective, but they can't really move out of the Mediterranean. They rely on shock and awe to overcome their prey. So they will sail straight up to their victim. They will often ram their victim, and then they will just charge aboard. There's no, the kind of Errol Flynn notion of galleons sailing by firing broadsides at each other. Don't work when you've got 144 oars, 72 oars on each side of the ship. You can't do broadsides. These ships are really effective, but they've got a very limited range, because if you're carrying 200, 300, 400 people, you can only go for about 10 days before you've got to hit land and take on supplies and water. Now that's the norm in the 16th century. In fact, exactly in 1604, the New English king, James I, makes peace with Spain. And because of that, large numbers of English privateers, that is quasi-legal pirates who've been preying on the Spanish, are suddenly told you've got to stop robbing Spanish ships because the Spanish aren't the enemy anymore. And thousands of Englishmen move into the Mediterranean. They want to carry on being privateers come pirates, and they go for sanctuary. They turn Turk in the phrase. They go for sanctuary to Morocco, to Algiers, to Tunis, and indeed to Tripoli. The significance of all this, for your question, is that they bring with them Northern European navigational techniques. So within 20 years, the pirates of Barbary moved from galleys to the big round ships, the big sailing ships of the West. The only way I'm going to get free is if you send money.
What kind of ships were the corsairs using, and what size fleets? I mean, is it a single galley or is it several ships? What's the armament?
It's an interesting story, and it's an evolving one, this, because in the 16th century, most piracy takes place in galleys.
The United States and Barbary pirates. In the 1700s, the countries along the southern coastline of the Mediterranean Sea were called the Barbary states. They included Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, and Tripoli. Now make sure you look those up, but look them up for over here. Then ask yourself, why is there Morocco over here? Why is there Algiers over here? Why is there Tunis and why there's Tripoli over here in the Americas? When they're talking about Mediterranean right there. Right. Named after the Berbers, one of North Africa's native people, the Barbary states were little pirate kingdoms that plundered the merchant ships of many nations. The Barbary pirates were mostly Berbers, Arabs, and other Muslims, but some came from Christian Europe. They talked about the fast-moving vessels. The U.S. pays tribute. After finding American commerce from the Mediterranean had almost stopped due to the pirates, the Continental Congress agreed in 1784 to negotiate treaties with the 4 Barbary states. Congress appointed a special commission consisting of John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin to oversee the negotiations. The following year, Congress authorized a maximum of $80,000 to spend on tribute treaties with all the Barbary states. In 1787, the United States signed a tribute treaty with Morocco. This proved to be a reasonable treaty, costing the United States a one-time only tribute of about $20,000. Except for a few brief disagreements, Morocco never again harassed American shipping. And really, that's not American shipping, that's United States shipping. Algiers, the most powerful of the Barbary states, was a different story. In the summer of 1785, pirates from Algiers captured 2 U.S. merchant ships and held the 21 men aboard them for ransom. The United States offered $4,200 for the captives. The ruler of Algiers, called the Dey, demanded nearly $60,000. right? This was the norm. This was the norm. Right? 1700s. You know, slavery is 1600s and stuff like that. So if these people are in slavery to Moors, how are they putting people on ships and stuff like that and bringing them somewhere where they can't even put a boat in the water? How do they do that? They can't even put a boat in the water. How are they bringing sardine boats over here? These people had to pay tribute. They had to pay. And stuff they're not talking about is how they had to pay to even have a conversation with a Moor. To even have a conversation with a Moor, you had to pay. This is how grimy these Moors were. Grimy. This is why, again, this is why Drew Ali is important to ending the hatred. Because the learn to love instead of hate theme is specifically for this reason of what our ancient foremothers and forefathers did. So if we're going to be moving forward as Moors, we're going to be moving forward under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's the only way it's going to work. Because with love being the first principle, they're not going to be looking at it like it's some revenge that you're having on them. Get back the white man because he did. There's no need for all that. Right? We fell so far because of mental slavery. We fell so far because mothers weren't teaching their children. They were putting them in some institution, make them do it. Because integration of the whatever. Like I said, I come from the generation in the 90s when there were Afrocentric schools that were self-owned, that the parents are paying. And it's two individuals who they know about teaching and they have access to a space. And that was school. That was school. You ever go into to these people's school? They didn't want that. Because all the European had to do was say that they got a school now that's going to teach them the black stuff. And we're going to hire the black teachers. And we're going to hire the PhD from our university. And the whoever from our university. And the athletics whatever from our university where we train them. But it's going to be black. And you're going to wear dashikis there. And they're going to think that they know themselves. And guess what everybody did who was in the Afrocentric school? Left the school that they were paying $600 a month for their 3 children to go to school. They left that to go to this school over here for free. Which wasn't even really their own school. They were like sharing a school. It was like the school was split in half. Then that side was school, and then this side was the black school for the dashiki guys. Right? But keep in mind that when we say, how did we fall so far? If you say we, that means you're falling. or falling or fallen. If you claim it, then you're putting yourself in that realm, and then that stuff's just gonna suck you dry because you're thinking, yeah, I'm conscious or whatever, but we got so much problems as a people and all that stuff. But you're saying that you're a Moor, or you're saying you're a breatharian or whatever like that. But you're saying we when you're talking about the dummies. Ain't nobody looking at the village idiot and talking about we. Idiot's over there in his own realm. Right? So there's no we when you're talking about the people in mental slavery and all that stuff. There's no we. That's a hex. Because you're calling we, which is the BS that they're going through, on yourself. And then you're looking at people in your life and say, oh yeah, freaking, they did this and they did that to me and all that stuff. When it's because you said we and hex yourself. And you said black and then hex yourself. Said, I'm black. And he said, I'm black and I'm proud. And then hex yourself like 3 times. Then you went to the rally and said, no peace, no justice. And then you never get peace, you never get justice, but you never realize that you just hexed yourself. Because you just said you had a sign saying no peace. So why would you have any? If you have a sign that says no justice, why would you get justice? You have a sign saying no justice mean you're proud to not have justice. All right, then don't get any. It's nothing personal. You hexed yourself. Right? Goes back to the Taj lesson. There's the redundancy of the stuff. And they're talking about U.S. and they're talking about Canada and there's a they. They did this, they did that. But it ain't they, them. It's U.S. Corporation, Canada Corporation, Germany Corporation, whatever. It's not, the white man did something. No. Who you talking about? Like, who? Name somebody. At least name somebody. Right? Man, the McDonald's manager, I can't believe that's it. McDonald's a corporation. That's not, there's no such thing as a manager. Who's that individual? What's their name? I want to sue them because when I said, there's a hair in it, they opened the burger and hawked in it and gave it back to me and said, no, everything's fine. So I want that individual. I don't want that position. I don't want the they, the them. I don't want that. I want that individual right there. So we can get to the bottom of what it is. I don't want the corporate tag. Right? Our people keep creating jurisdictions by their assumptions. And then when someone accepts that and then uses it against them, then they complain about it. It's a hex that we've been putting on ourselves. There's nobody doing anything to us that we're not putting on ourselves. And the reason why it could be put on us like that is because we don't have a nationality. So that's like doing a ritual and then you didn't close the circle. And then you have all types of other stuff that you got to deal with now because you thought you could just do what you want. You left yourself open. you're practicing to astral project, and then you do it, and then when you get back to your body, you're in a cell. Talking about, I'm innocent, I didn't do anything. Because you left yourself open. Another entity took your body and all that stuff. Because remember, once you leave the shell, time is an illusion. You don't even know what time is if you leave it. Right. Yeah, and that was your path. Your path was to go deal with the BS, to get right back here where you started, when, you should have just stayed there. You wouldn't be having any issues. If you had just stayed there the whole time, you wouldn't have any issues, which goes back again to, the responsibility, where you're taking on the responsibility to say, shit, I'm going to go back and recheck this stuff because I went off the path somewhere. We go back to the beginning again. We go back to the beginning. Right. Honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Oh yeah. Keep in mind, civic classes, Wednesday, February 2nd. Never too late to join. 15 notes per class, 12 with MHHS student card. RV Bay Publications presents. Info, rvbaygotoclass@gmail.com. Every Wednesday. National Theater, online. Honors to all the Moors. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Supreme honors to all the Moors. All the Moors who know what's up. Honors to you. Oh yeah, I forgot this one was crazy too. Picture of the Prophet. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. R.D. Jones photo. Gelatin silver print, full-length portrait, 9.5 by 7 5/8 inches with caption and photographer's name in the negative. 800 to 12 grand. Realized price $2,400. So these people honor Noble Drew Ali that much to be auctioning his picture. Then, come on now. Why you hating? Why you hating? Honors to all the mothers. Peace and love to all the Moors. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Study, study, study. And study yourself. Islam.